Okay, in this video I'd like to show you what's the meaning of vector, how you can generate vector using linspace and using colon operator, and how to manually investigate a vector. So basically talking, data can be in a format of matrix or vector. Vector is one-dimensional array. So array, any arrangement of data, we call it array, which is going to be like a top category for matrix and vector. If we want to have our data, in this case for instance I have a one-dimensional array arrangement of 7 data in the row, like 7 columns and 1 row. So size of this will be 1 times 7, so 1 row and 7 column. Again, in this case I had a manual entry of my data. In the second case, if I want to generate the data, so if you want to generate the data using linspace, so to use the linspace, we can have a beginning point and an end point. So in this case, for instance, x1 and x2. If you put it like this, computer automatically will generate 100 points. If you don't need 100 points, you can say, okay, how many points I need? Between x1 and x2, generate, for instance, 20 points. That's how you can use it too. And the third way that you can generate a vector is that if you know the beginning point, you know the end point, and you know the spacing, I mean the increment. Again, the spacing is here, 100 point or 20 points. So for instance, you want to start from -4, you go with the increment of 0.5, your end number is 4. So this is actually increment. If I put a minus number here, I need to switch this because I'm going down, right, from 4 to -4. But again, this could be increment or decrement, whatever we call it descent. But what I do know is that that's actually is going to be the step. I can call it a step instead of increment or decrement. So let's start working on online, Octave Online. Please, before you go in, you open a new program, you click here, make sure that in your file name you have a .m, then CLC clear on the top of your program. So I wrote a is equal to 1479324. Now, if I save and run this, lots of other things will be generated at the same time. Again, I'm gonna work with this program line by line. So I select everything and you can comment them out. So it looks like it doesn't work, but again, you can put percentage behind any line that will comment it out that line. So in the first program, I am looking for to just work with the vector A. If I work with vector A, I'm gonna comment out everything else. Okay, left this one on, off it, and then comment out this too. So vector A, anything which is percentage behind of it, you don't need even to look at it because computer will not read that. It see that as a description or as a comment. In this case, I have A from this number. I want to have, like for instance, if I save and run this, there is a problem somewhere in line 22. In line 22, I say AI, and I is not noun, so I have to put a percentage for this one too. So save and run. Okay, so give me the size of A, which is 1 times 7. If I ask, for instance, A of the fourth one is what? So give me 9. So meaning that 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth one is 9. If I have I as an input, okay, so I put I is equal to input, so the user will enter what variable he is looking for. Then the computer will tell him what's that variable. So in this case, you can actually use the function display display A of I is equal to, again, I'm not doing it professionally, you have to use a different function, but for now I just use this function. So save and run. So the computer asks me, enter the number in the array you are looking for. In this case, I'm looking for the fifth one. and then the computer say that AI is equal to 3. So AI was equal to 3. Again, if you don't want to have that line, let me just put a semicolon here. I'm not sure. It will generate the same thing again. Fifth one, AI is the third. So meaning that if you go to here, count 1, 2, 3, the fifth variable is 3. So in the next example, I generated the B. Again, when we talk about vector, vector could be a row or could be column. If you want to generate column, you have to put semicolon between them, right? So if you create semicolon between them, then it will generate let me just to comment out these two for now. So if I save and run, so if you say A, if you type in A here, the A is a row vector. If I put A underscore P, because I put semicolon between them, that would be a column, right? So the semicolon meaning that go to the next line, go to the next line, go to the next line. So meaning that this is how your AP look like. If I have the D, which is A prime minus AP, so again, the D is the difference between these two. We already know that if you say, for instance, if you say A minus A underscore P, this will generate like something crazy. I'm not looking for this. I am looking for to subtract a column from a row. So in order to do that, one of them I need to transpose. So the prime here would transpose that. That's the job of that prime here. So if I save and run this, now I'm going to got a bunch of zeros because this A and A prime are the same. So let's look at different types of vectors. So in order to generate vectors, sometimes you can just simply use linspace. Okay, if I use linspace, I'm going to ask this guy to actually plot this function too. So in this case, I asked the computer to generate 20 points between -5 to 5, and then I use the function linspace. So if you save and run, it will generate 20 points, and then that 20 points are, again, the reason that you can see I have some stuff from before, and I don't know why it's still left in there, although I have the clear. But again, in your plot, you have to erase that. So sometimes you have to use, like down here, you have to use fig, which meaning that put it in a new plot. So save and run. There you go. So I create a new figure, I put it in there. You see, when you see a figure, meaning that generate a new figure. Don't use stuff from history, from years ago. So, and in this figure, I plot the B, and that's how the B look like. Between -5 to 5, generated 20 points. The other thing that you can do, you can use the colon operator. In this case, we did it for C, starting from -4 with the increment or step of 0.5 to 4. And then I can ask actually for the size of B and size of C. So let's plot this, hold on this, and then save and run. So one of these things is, again, you can later on you can ask to put the legend in there. In this case, this is the matrix B, sorry, the array B, and this is the array C, which is between -4 to 4. As for sizing, sizing of A is 1 times 7, sizing of B is 1 and 20, sizing of C is 1 and 17.